Wallace finds top shelf back corner. Carlow is going to take the 4-1.
And welcome to the season preview for Carlow Cross Country. I'm Sean Meyers of the Carlow Sports Network, joined by Mike McLaughlin, the associate head coach for Carlow. Year number 2 for you, Mike. I'm sure that the first year there was a lot of good experiences. What did you take away from your first year as the head coach for the cross country aspect here at Carlow?
Just adjustment to the college level, coming up from the high school level. Wasn't as big as an adjustment as I thought, but I think we handled it well. And then just getting to know the team, their strengths and weaknesses, and how to communicate with them on a day-to-day basis.
I'm sure you're looking forward to year number 2, but it's certainly been a tumultuous offseason with the COVID pandemic. What have been keys to preparing for this offseason?
Just keeping the energy levels high on a day-to-day basis, not implementing training too different from what they did this summer. I would say everyone probably had a down summer compared to last year, just in terms of the coronavirus hitting, and then just making sure everyone follows the protocols correctly so that we can keep the season going.
And talking about following those protocols, what are the important aspects of that all these athletes have to be aware of?
Well, while they're at practice, it's really easy to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. But I only have them for 90 minutes to 2 hours a day, so it's really the other 22 hours. Just really making sure that they understand, the 6 feet, wearing a mask, and then not doing the typical college things this year, like they're having classes online. The only classes they have really in person or labs. And then in terms of going to social gatherings or parties or stuff like that happen in college, making sure that you just can't do that this year if you want to have a season. You have to make a decision. Do you want to be an athlete and follow those protocols, or do you just want to be a normal college student?
We mentioned this is your second year. So how have those relationships strengthened between you and your runners between year number 1 and now into year number 2?
I think each relationship with each individual athlete have strengthened immensely. I know all of them now, whereas last year it was my first time coaching a lot of them. And then even with the freshmen this year, I had coached one when I was still at the high school level. So it's really only one new person that I have to coach this year.
So your official title is the associate head coach. You really oversee the cross-country aspect, but you work hand in hand with the head coach, Tony Anderson. Mm-hmm. So what is important about the relationship that you two have?
So in terms of the track and cross-country separation, like you said, I oversee cross-country, so he gives me full autonomy over the cross-country training and scheduling. But then when I make a big decision, like what meets we go to, or if I feel like someone needs to sit out, we talk about that collectively and make those decisions as a team.
I know when I talked to you last year, one of your focuses was implementing your own training methods that you thought would pay dividends. How did you see the results to those new methods with the athletes?
I think they played out really well. There were definitely a lot of adjustments I had to make. I was playing around a lot during the cross-country season last year with how much volume I thought everyone could handle. And with some people I was right, some people I was wrong. But I really think that I made a big step in figuring out during the indoor track season last year, because everyone was PRing and running really well, and I found that most people are low volume but can handle a healthy dose of speed. So that's kind of the training method that I'm using for the cross-country season this year.
Let's narrow our focus down to the men's side. How did you evaluate the performance from that team in 2019?
Of the people who ran, I thought it was a step in the right direction. I saw a lot of improvements from where they were before I got here, just in PRs, and then in terms of just attitude and how they were on a day-to-day basis.
You bring back a number of those same runners on the men's side. Who are the key returners that you're looking forward to contributing once again?
Key returners are Joey Palmieri and Evan Antes, who are really our two main guys from last year. And then we added Cameron Short, who has been on the track team before and has run cross country in a minimal capacity before, but adding some volume and some miles to his repertoire from his already natural speed abilities. He's improving every day with just how far he can run, how long he can hold an 8K pace for.
We'll be talking to Joey Palmieri in just a little bit. But last year there was no doubt that the roster size on the men's side was an issue. Where does that stand now heading into this season?
Well, last year we had truly two cross-country guys who could compete, which obviously you need 5 to score. And this year we are at 5. So we have Joey and Evan coming back, and then we added Cam. Mike Randall is back after taking a semester off to focus on academics last year, and then Kevin Sheehan should be academically eligible this year, so he'll be able to compete as well. And
with those 5 competitors now, I'm sure you can set more team expectations. Mm-hmm. So what do you have for the objectives and goals this year?
From a team perspective, just get better from last year. We were 12th out of 12 teams last year, so improve off of that. There's nowhere to go but up. So definitely get better from that. And then in terms of individuals, I just want to see everyone compete better than they did last year. Times are hard because each year we run different courses, but even with that, I think everyone should be able to set new PRs this year.
And expanding upon that, you mentioned the rest of the River States Conference. What do you expect from the conference on the men's side?
At the top, I expect Point Park and West Virginia Tech to compete for those top 2 spots. I know they both bring back a number of returners, so that's who I expect to compete at the top.
Shifting focus now to the women's side, how did you evaluate last year for the women's team?
Similar to the men, a step in the right direction. I think at the top we have a lot of good people coming back. We didn't lose any scores from last year.
With that in mind, who are some of those key returners?
So Larissa, Kijowski, I expect to be in the top 3 at the conference meet this year. Katie Melvin was coming off an injury last year and still came in 21st, so I expect her to move up. Rachel Jones was 23rd last year. I also expect her to move up. Sydney Oxane was our 4th girl last year, but it was her first true cross-country season ever, including high school. I expect her to move up several positions after finishing, I think, in 63rd last year. And then Kenzie Shandor, who's a freshman this year that I had coached at the high school level, I expect her to be very important in how we finish in the conference meet.
And you mentioned Larissa. I'll be talking to her momentarily as well. She had a great season. What makes her so successful?
It's cliche, but just how hard she works. She shows up every day, and doesn't matter if she feels good, bad, mediocre, she's going to give you the same effort every day.
The women's team welcomes some newcomers, including one that you were familiar with dating back to your time at Baldwin. Talk about the expectations from those freshmen.
I just expect them to buy into the culture that we have. Again, another cliche, but show up every day and give me your best effort to do what's asked of you, and you'll be successful.
When the River States Conference preseason rankings came out, the Celtics were 8 out of 12 teams with the expectations. How does that align with what you're anticipating?
Anticipation from the rankings, that's about what I expected, because we were 8th last year, and I think if you look at the roster size that we have and who we bring back, I can see how you would think that we'd come in 8th, but I definitely expect to move up several places in the conference meet this year.
In order to do that, what will be key?
Staying healthy. We have 6 girls right now who are practicing daily, and you need 5 to score. So just keeping everyone healthy so that we can score 5 at the conference meet with everyone being 100% healthy.
And looking at all the different sports at the collegiate level, scheduling has changed drastically during this pandemic. So what is notable about the cross-country schedule?
Less meets. Last year we were already competing on about an every other week basis. This year we'll compete on Friday, September 11th, and then the following week, September 19th. So a back-to-back is a little bit different from most cross-country schedules, and then from there I don't anticipate to compete for another month, because you have to have 3 regular season meets plus a conference meet to be able to qualify for the national meet, and we're looking to do the minimum number of meets, just from a safety standpoint, and then to make up for missed competitions, maybe do some team inter-squad time trials.
Well, Mike, we appreciate the time. Certainly, we hope you well heading into your second season guiding this program.
All right, thanks for the time.
That's Mike McLaughlin, the associate head coach of Carlow Cross Country. Sean Meyers of the Carlow Sports Network, now joined by senior cross country member Larissa Kijowski. Larissa, thank you for taking the time to do this.
Yeah, sure thing.
So this was certainly an unexpected off-season, a lot of challenges, I'm sure. How did you approach it with the uncertainty regarding COVID-19 and the pandemic?
Well, a lot of it just had to be consistency and continuously having to try to motivate myself, especially just whenever things would get worse or things would get better, and you would think that, oh, maybe the pandemic's starting to lift and we're gonna be okay, and then I would find out that PSAC canceled or this school canceled fall sports. So it would be hard sometimes to motivate myself. So that was the biggest part of this summer training, was trying to motivate myself and just get out there. There were some days where I was like, just get out the door, just go. So.
And you mentioned the PSAC and the PAC as well, both in this area. They decided to postpone their fall sports. What was your reaction when you found out that you would be able to compete for fall?
I was shocked and very excited, very excited, because I wasn't sure that I'd be here right now talking to you, let alone competing. So I'm definitely very thankful, and I'm hoping that it stays this way.
Fingers crossed, indeed. A couple years ago, you were limited by injuries. I know that certainly took a toll. When I talked to you last year, you said you just wanted to make it through last season healthy. You seemed to do that. How important was that to you?
Staying healthy and injury-free is so important, because a lot of it has to do with confidence too. If you are injury-free, you feel a lot more confident in yourself, because whenever I do get injured and I have to sit back and cross-train and not participate in workouts, sometimes it can kind of, be like, oh, am I still going to be in as good a shape as I would if I were doing these workouts? So a lot of it for me has to do with confidence and knowing that I'm prepared whenever I get on the line.
And when you talk about those workouts, what's really important to make sure that you're training to be ready to go for a season?
A lot of it has to do with building a really good base. So we focus on a lot of mileage, right now, early in the season. It's a little bit less than it normally would be right now, just because everybody did have kind of a difficult summer of training. But I think that that's the biggest part, is just making sure that you have the endurance.
You got to make a nice little trek last year when you competed in the NAIA Nationals. I'm sure that was a great experience. What were your biggest takeaways from it?
It was an amazing experience. I'm super grateful that I got to go and that I was able to qualify. The biggest thing for me, looking forward to this next year, hopefully qualifying again too, is just that whenever I was there, it was a lot to take in, and it was a very competitive race, and it was a very large race. So there were hundreds and hundreds of girls just in my one race. I think there was almost 600 in my race. So that was something that, being there, it felt very intimidating almost. So now that I was able to have that experience, now I feel a lot more confident in my ability to be able to perform.
And continuing on that thought, you're now a senior, so where's your mindset compared to maybe years past? How's it different now?
I'm definitely a lot more confident in myself, especially after this past year. I had a lot of accomplishments, so I'm hoping to just keep the ball rolling, do it all again, and do it better than I did last year.
I talked to you around this time last year, and you said that there's really a family aspect to cross country, more than other sports, more than track and field. How has that chemistry with your teammates evolved?
It is still great. We have a super awesome group right now. The only downside to our little family right now, though, is COVID, because we have to keep our distance. You know, we can't all be together in our little tight-knit groups like we usually are. But when we are together, it's great, and we really do. We have a great team.
You certainly had a breakout year in 2019. Which teammate or teammates do you expect to have a big year now in 2020?
I think that a lot of the juniors are going to have a really great year. I think that Rachel Jones, Katie Melvin, and Sydney are going to have, I think that they're going to be a really solid group.
Have you set team goals for this season?
We haven't really talked about it a whole lot yet, but we've been hoping, especially with the girls team, that we can really perform well at conference. We're thinking with me leading the pack, and then those 3 girls that I just mentioned bringing up the rest of the pack. We have a very, very promising freshman too, so we're hoping that our score of 5 girls to cross the line is going to be way better than it has been in previous years. We're hoping to score well at conference.
And lastly, I know the schedule is a little light right now. Coach McLaughlin alluded to that, but what event or what opponent are you most looking forward to?
I'm really looking forward to conference, and we do have a race in 2 weeks that kind of looks like it's going to be a little bit of a conference preview, but I'm not sure how it's going to work because they have the races broken up into groups. So, but I'm really looking forward to getting up there with some of the girls at the front pack, especially some of my competitors from Point Park. And I'm hoping that we can all really work together and run fast.
Well, hopefully that is in the cards this season. We appreciate the time. Good luck heading into your senior campaign.
Yeah, thank you.
Larissa Kijowski for the Celtics cross country. We continue the season preview with Joey Palmieri, a senior for the Celtics cross country team. Thank you for doing this today.
Thank you for having me.
So there's certainly been adjustments for everyone during the pandemic. There's no doubt about it. Getting ready for cross country, what has been the biggest adjustment for you?
The off season was definitely tricky because you had that moral dilemma in your head when you go out to run if you had to wear a mask or not, and so that made running tricky in the beginning because you don't even want to be out in public. But as time went on, it has been tricky training. But I think me and the team, we've got to where we need to be right now.
And as I'm struggling to keep my mask on over my nose right now, I've actually played some sports. I did tennis and hockey wearing a mask, and I was able to adjust to it. Has there been an adjustment process for you in doing any workouts wearing a mask?
Well, we don't wear a mask when we run now. That was just like, because I think it's, wow, as long as we're outside and we have our pod together, we've quarantined, so we're at least safe together. So I can't even imagine doing a workout with a mask on, especially in the heat we have in the summer.
Yeah, certainly not ideal. I can speak to that. There's no freshman on the men's team this year. It's just one sophomore as well. So there's a lot of veteran experience. How do you think that will pay off?
It'll definitely pay off. It's I feel like, especially with this season, we didn't really need to have that orientation phase where everybody had to get to know each other, take it easy. It's almost like we just pick up where we left off in November. So I think that was definitely nice.
What's the atmosphere like and the mood like for this team?
Oh, it's very fun. We just love having fun. It's we're always joking around. And I think that's what makes coming to practice and going to meets like really like bearable and all that. Because like running it sucks and it's like hard, but our humor and just the lightheartedness of the atmosphere is really nice.
Coach McLaughlin said he's trying to grow the numbers. That's obviously going to be an important part of the success of this program this year and beyond. So when you look at the numbers, how do you try to set team goals knowing that that's going to sort of handicap you?
Yeah, team goal. We're more like individualized of our training. Of course, we like all work together, but we have more individual goals than team goals because I feel like we'd be better improving ourselves before we can improve as a team.
Well, let's speak to that. What individual goals have you set?
Well, overall, I want to stay healthy, especially like the whole team. But I'm trying to pick up where I left off last year. I was doing decent towards the end of the season, and of course the off season hasn't been ideal, but I'm trying to work up to that, or at least where I was last year.
Mike McLaughlin really oversees this cross-country program. What are some of his best qualities?
Mike is the best. We love him. He, especially because he like some days he'll even train with us. It's like he's like one of us. He's our buddy, but also like our coach. Like he's guiding us because especially he's young. He has that experience, and he's like been where we've been like recently. So yeah, we love him.
Your home course is Shenley Park. What are the best aspects of that venue?
We love Shenley because we definitely take advantage of it. Like it's right there. We know ins and outs, like where to push, where to like relax and everything. So yeah, Shenley is really like our strong suit. It's too bad we won't be running it this year.
What are you most looking forward to in your senior year?
Honestly, just trying to take it all in day by day. I wanted to be done and aim for graduation, but I know I'm going to miss it, so taking it all in.
Well, lastly, you've had a lot of time here at Carlow University. What has been the best aspect of being a member of the Celtics?
Definitely the fact that I can still run cross country and track full time and also pursue my career in nursing. Obviously, either or is not easy to do like individually, but yeah, Carlow's definitely, they work with each other. So yeah, just the fact that I can do nursing and cross country at the same time is just awesome.
Not at the exact same time, I
True.
would think. Okay.
Yeah.
One after the other. Certainly it's worked for you. Joey, we appreciate the time.
Thank you for having me.
That is Joey Palmieri, a senior for the Celtics cross country here on the season preview.